Hey everybody, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the buyer's product backup alarm. Now before we kind of start taking a closer look at it, I know the first thing that came to my mind is how it sounds. You know, how loud is it and what does it sound like? So why don't we hop up in the truck, put it in reverse, and check it out. So we're here up in the cab of our truck and we're in a pretty big box truck. I mean, this thing is sizable and really long. And so I'm just kind of curious on how well we can actually hear this backup alarm from inside. So I'll go ahead and key us on and get us in reverse. And it is loud. I mean, I can hear that clear as day from all the way up here. So can't imagine how it would sound, you know, behind the truck. And matter of fact, this thing is 97 decibels. You know, comparatively, it sounds like you're starting a lawnmower right in front of your face. You know, that's kind of the same level there. And it's loud. You know, there's really no other way to put it. So after hearing the alarm, it's actually pretty impressive that all that noise comes out of such a small speaker. You know, this thing's pretty compact, which is nice. You know, you can put it just about anywhere. But, you know, other than that, these things are used for a ton of different applications. You know, service vehicles, work trucks, pieces of equipment, maybe a forklift or a tractor, and so on. You know, really what you want to put this on is endless, and you know, it just helps keep you a little more safe. You know, keeps other people aware. A lot of times on a job site or something, there's a lot going on, a lot of noise being made, and so having a loudspeaker like this to blast some sound back is not only going to help keep potential people behind you safe, but also, you know, help you out with some liability and kind of protect yourself as well. So I'll just give you a couple measurements just to make sure that, you know, this is going to work with your setup. It's going to be 4 inches wide, so end to end here, 2 3/4 of an inch tall, and 1 5/8 inches thick. So the thickness of it. So definitely one of the smaller ones that I've seen. So really shouldn't give you any issues. You know, this is going to work with 12-volt systems, so really common system for gas and diesel vehicles, but it also has the ability to work with the 24-volt systems too. So, you know, maybe another type of piece of equipment or something like that that uses that 24-volt system, this is going to work with that as well. Since a lot of these type of vehicles that use this, you know, really do take a beating. You know, people are hard on them. It's, you know, good to have something that can hold up to that and be tough and last for a while. And this thing feels pretty well built. You know, I'm actually a fan of buyer's products or electronics and things like that. I've used them on my own personal projects in the past and have had good luck with them. And I feel like this is no different. You know, the case is nice and thick. You know, I don't really see this just getting tapped and falling apart. The back here is going to be epoxy sealed. And so everything is self-contained. You know, it's going to be really hard for moisture and things like that to get inside. And, you know, honestly, that's probably the #1 killer of electronics, especially mounted out here, is moisture and things getting inside and killing them. So, you know, should last for quite some time. It also can work in those freezing temperatures when it's super cold, as well as those super hot summer days. So kind of covers all the bases and, you know, should keep you going for a while. Now, as far as getting these installed, really simple actually. It's honestly just one wire and you mount this up and you're good to go. So really shouldn't give you a whole lot of issues. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and put this on together now. The first thing that we need to do is identify our wiring that controls our reverse light circuit. In our case, we're going to be right here in this corner. Now keep in mind, you know, every setup is going to be a little bit different, but at least where the wires are located and things like that. But generally speaking, it's safe to assume you can find them close to the rear of your vehicle. Just like our situation today, that wiring is going to be located right here in this corner. In our case, we have a really nice setup. It's actually all labeled, telling us what wire does what. And this blue wire, labeled backup, so this is going to be our reverse light circuit. And I you know, went ahead and tested it still just to make sure. The way you would test it is really easy. You get a test light, and what you do is you have a friend sit up in the vehicle, put it in reverse. You know, make sure you keep safety in mind, because if you're going to be underneath the vehicle, you don't want to get ran over. But put it in reverse, and if that wire powers on when it's in reverse, and the wire loses power once you take it out of reverse, that's how you can identify that circuit. So it's pretty straightforward. But once you have that done, what we're going to do, we're going to need to tap into this. So there's a couple ways we can do this. The way that I'm going to do is use a butt connector like this. I'm simply just going to cut it in half, and I'm going to strip back the ends of the insulation. Give them a good twist here. Keep everything nice and tight. And what I'm going to do is take a butt connector like this and just an additional piece of wire. So I grabbed, you know, maybe 3 foot. You can grab wiring here at eTrailer, but on one of the sides, I'm going to take our extra piece of wire and one end of the factory wires and just twist these together. Now we can put on our butt connector, so it's going to slide over the end. We'll crimp this down. And then to complete the circuit, we're going to plug this into the other end. So this is a pretty big butt connector, somewhat small wire. I'm just going to fold that over. It'll give it a better bite. Slide that in. Rip it down. And since these are heat shrink butt connectors that help keep the wiring protected from corrosion and things like that, I'll come back in with my heat source and seal up the ends. At this point we can actually mount up our backup alarm. So we're going to have a couple different attachment points, one there and one there. Same deal on each side. With this, pretty straightforward. You know, you just want to put it in a place where it's not going to get beat up. And you know, if you can, try to have the speaker facing towards the back of the vehicle. So I'm going to mount ours like this, and that should do the trick. I'm actually going to use these attachment points, and what I'm going to do is take some self-tapping screws and some flat washers, and that's how I'm going to secure it to the bottom of the frame there. Now what I've done is taken the blue wire that we attached earlier, and at the end of it I stripped the insulation back and crimped on a small ring terminal like this. This works the same way as a butt connector. You know, you slide it over the bare end, crimp it down. With that said, we can work on getting this hooked up. I'm just kind of trying to get this out of the way here so we can see what we're doing. If you look on the side of our alarm, we're going to have 2 posts. This post up top, that's going to be for the ground. However, this is also self-grounding, so since we attached the alarm to the chassis or to the frame, that's going to provide us with the ground. If you happen to have to, you know, attach this to plastic or wood or something else, you would need to do a similar setup. Take a wire with the ring terminal and find a ground and ground it out to the chassis. With that said, you just need to focus on this terminal here, which is the power. And we're going to take this small nut off. These things are really small, so be careful. And we'll take off one of the star washers. We're going to take our ring terminal, put that over the post, put that star washer on, and then the nut. Get that snug, and then we can come back with a 9/32 size socket and just tighten it down a little bit. So now I went ahead and just grabbed a couple zip ties and helped kind of secure up our wiring, and really now that's all that's left to do is to hop in the truck, put it in reverse, and make sure everything works. And that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the Buyer's Products backup alarm.